Hi, I'm Shelley, the Serenity Doula, and today I'm just going to have a little talk with you about different positions and why in those last few weeks leading up to your birth you want to be sitting in a slightly different way, or just having a little think about the way that you're sitting in order to help your baby get into the right position or the best position for labour. Now, as with all these things, don't worry, because babies do turn during labour, so it's not like a massive worry if they aren't feeling like they're in the right position, but it can just help things to go more smoothly, so it's just an idea to keep in the back of your mind. So what we don't want to be doing is slouching. Okay, slouching back in a chair is really not great, and I'll tell you the reasons why. So here we are, slouching back in our chair. Okay, this baby doesn't really look like very much like a baby bump, even stuffed onto the jumper, I'm afraid, but you can see that if I'm like this, gravity is going to be putting the baby backwards. Okay, so that's going to mean that the baby is more likely going into a back-to-back position. It means the baby is going to be more likely pressing on the blood vessels, which are supplying not only my brain, but also the uterus of the baby. So we don't want to do that. Okay, so if you're sitting on a sofa, okay, get some cushions behind you so you can relax, but your back is supported and you're not leaning backwards. Okay, as I've said in some of my other videos, it's best if your knees are below your hips, because this helps to tilt that pelvis forward, so we're getting that baby to the front, not to the back of the pelvis. You'll probably find actually that sitting back is not that comfortable, because the baby tends to fall back and come up, and when they're getting really big, that really puts a lot of pressure up through onto your ribs, so you might find it difficult to breathe anyway and uncomfortable, and it can increase heartburn as well, because it's pushing on all the other organs that haven't got very much space upwards towards that diaphragm. So actually coming forward into a more forward leaning posture, a more upright posture, so you've got space, upright, forward and open with the legs. So some people use an acronym UFO, upward, forward and open, or upright, forward and open, because when you open the legs it's more space for your bump, because your bump's sitting here, and if your legs are closed it can really compress that space. If they're open, opens the pelvis a little bit more, allows the baby to drop down to give you just that little bit more space at the top of your bump. Now, during the labour, and actually even before labour, you might find sitting on a chair backwards quite comfortable. I know it sounds funny, but I've got this little chair here because when you're sitting like this, okay, you automatically go into that upright forward posture with those knees lower than the hip. Okay, and you can lean forward on the back of the chair. You've got plenty of space for your bump here, nice and open with the hips. You can shift and you can have no pressure on the sacrum at the back here. You often get low back pain towards the end of pregnancy because of the weight of the baby is pulling forward, and all of the muscles at the back are having to work extra hard to keep you upright because it's pulling you forward like this. And so constantly these muscles are having to pull you back to balance you. So what's great about this position is you can get somebody very nice to come behind you and do some massage on your back. And make sure to watch out for my massage technique video, which will be coming very soon. This position, often in hospitals or even at home, if you've got a plastic chair you can take into the shower, if your shower's big enough. You can sit on a chair like this when you're labouring. You can wiggle and move around if you want, and you can have a shower directed at your low back here, or just have the nice hot water running down your back, and that is really lovely and helpful to make things more comfortable in labour. I think really the best thing to sit on towards the end of your pregnancy is the birth ball, and there are a few reasons for that. Number one, it's nice and soft and squishy, so it's really comfortable for where the base of the pelvis becomes more tender towards the end of pregnancy. And the reason why is that all of your pelvic floor muscles, which are supporting the weight of the baby and all of the amniotic fluid and all of your organs and everything, are attaching onto these sitting bones, onto the coccyx and the sacrum here. They're forming this amazingly strong web of muscles here that are keeping everything safe and are then going to have to work and make space and open for the baby to come out. So when the relaxin is going into the body, it makes these ligaments that little bit more stretchy. So they're working that much harder towards the end of the pregnancy to hold the baby in. So they're loosening, okay? And it can become tender on here when you're sitting on hard surfaces. So with this ball, you've got a nice soft surface, you can move around, and even the tiniest of movements can just take pressure off an area where it's a little bit sore. Again, you're doing all of those things that you want to be upright. You've got not enough space for your bump here, so you're not feeling really compressed and everything coming upwards. You can have your knees lower than your hips, so that pelvis is tilting forward and getting the baby into a good position. You're also building a little bit of strength, you know, through that pelvic floor, the pelvic floor muscles, through all the abdominal and core and low back muscles, and also through your thighs with the ball, because they're rolly. You're constantly having to shift, and the muscles are just doing little bits of work and building strength up, ready for labour, so that you are more physically fit by the time you get to labour. Labour is like a marathon. You know, it's a lot of work that kind of builds slowly, so you get used to it. But if you've got better tone in your muscles to start with, it's going to really help. So you might try doing some pregnancy yoga or some gentle walking and things. And also remember that just sitting on your ball, chilling out watching some Netflix counts as a little bit of exercise. So yeah, nothing better than a bit of Netflix on your pregnancy ball. I hope this video is helpful, and if you would like any more information, please do check out my website, theserenitydoula.co.uk, and I have a comprehensive online antenatal course there if you would like that, to join that. I also have coming up very soon an online hypnobirthing course, which will be available hopefully within the next month or so. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in contact with me. If you would like to hire me as your doula, then also just pop to the website, all my contact details are there. All right, happy birthing.